YouTube. Hi, friends. Excuse me, frog in my throat already. I wanted to make a little video today, and today's video is going to be on the topic of guarding your heart, guarding your mind. And the reason I wanted to discuss this for a little bit is over the past week, last weekend, I was able to get some personal settling happening around my own personal feelings and upset about the whole COVID-19 situation. And a part of how I was able to do that was taking a step back from social media, taking a step back from the news, just stepping back, honestly. And by taking a break and taking some rest and physically getting rest, and it just changed everything. It just changed a lot for me last weekend. So that got me thinking about how we are caring for our minds, our thoughts, and our hearts. And I know I was raised in a Christian home, so some scriptures kind of came to mind. So I did a little searching today, and what I wanted to pull out was Proverbs 4:23 says this: above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. And it goes on to say other things, but I just wanted to focus on that one little phrase. Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. And I also looked up, I was like, okay, well, heart, does heart mean mind in this text or not? Or is it different? And I read several different little articles and definitions, and it looks like heart and mind in the Old Testament writings were kind of interchangeable. And that's kind of how I read that as well, like way back. And today when I read it again, was I think the writer of Proverbs is not talking about just our emotions, just our heart emotions. It's also there, he's also talking about our minds. Above all else, guard your mind, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. That makes so much sense. So if we are being filled with fretting and worry and stress, guess what's going to come out? The same. Here's another thought. Where attention goes, energy flows. And this is a concept I got from the book, The Secret and the Power. And Rhonda Byrne, the author, is talking about the law of attraction and how whatever we are focused on is where our energy's going. So again, if you're focused on negativity, if you're focused on worry, if you're focused on stressful things, then that's what we end up feeding. Whatever we are focused on is, in part, what is going to grow because we are feeding it. This is just the reality of how that works. So like I had written down, where our energy goes, there is growth. So if we're so worried about something, you know, the more energy we pour into something, the more we get of that thing. This is just kind of a universal law. So here is what I want you to hear from this. And first of all, please do not hear that if you are worrying, if you are anxious, that I'm in any way judging you or condemning you, or I'm absolutely not. I was there. I'm still there sometimes. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is it's still not a great place to be. I was there for several weeks with a lot of intense anxiety, and I was not in a good place, and I was not very productive, and it was a difficult place to be. And I probably needed to be there for as long as I was there. So please understand, there is absolutely no harsh judgment in this. I'm just sharing this because I was able to come out of it, and I wanted to share how I think I was able to partly come out of this. So, guarding your heart, guarding your mind is about, in part, making conscious choices. We cannot stop all negativity. You cannot prevent yourself from hearing all bad news or anything disturbing, because there's a lot of disturbing stuff in this world today. So there's no way you can avoid all of that. Now, I do think you can avoid some of it, and that's probably a good idea, especially if you are a pearl, if you are a compassionate, sensitive, heart-centered person. You probably need to avoid a good amount of certain information and certain news sources and certain things, because certain things have a lot of negativity to them. Now, does that mean you can't be informed? No, you can be informed. You just want to think about how are you going to get your information, and where are you getting your information? I do not suggest that a tender-hearted person sit and watch hour after hour after hour of live news coverage. I think that's a terrible idea. Don't do that. Now, if you wish to be informed, that's fine. Read a newspaper. And I know newspapers for real don't exist, but read an online newspaper, read headlines, read the first couple paragraphs of something, get the gist of it, but don't get the inflammatory blow by blow, let's review the horrible thing over and over again and watch the terrible video 20 times in the hour. Don't do that, because that kind of journalism feeds off of sensationalism, and they're gonna be saying things in the most upsetting way possible, because unfortunately bad news sells, and so they draw people in that way. You can be informed and still not expose yourself to that level of emotional intensity. Now, if you're a person that you don't care and you love the news and it doesn't bother you, well, then you go right ahead. That's fine. I'm speaking to people that are more sensitive, that are more bothered by such things. We also need to pay thoughtful attention to where we're spending our free time. Social media, what kind of people you're being around, who you're listening to, etc. What are you reading? Because it goes in, it stays, it comes out. That's just, and what goes in our minds and our eyes goes in our hearts, and then it comes out of our mouth. This is just the cycle. So, if something is wearing you down, if someone is stressing you, my suggestion is step back. I am not saying don't ever speak to them again. That's silly. Don't do that. Don't create drama. I'm not saying never watch a news program again. But if it's a particular day and you are tired, if it's been a long day, a long week, and you just don't have a lot of energy, please be careful about where you put your attention. I would suggest don't watch the news if it's been a really bad day. I would suggest read something positive, read something uplifting. If you're going on Facebook or Instagram or whatever you go on, if there are people that are drama-filled or negative, please scroll past them. Don't read their stuff. Or if you start reading and it's like, oh, there they go, scroll by or get off it. Don't continue to expose yourself to anything or anyone that is bringing you down or making you more anxious. And the same goes with helping people. Many of you that I may be listening to this are probably kind, loving, caring people who want to help others, who serve others. And that's wonderful and it's beautiful. And if you are depleted, if you have nothing left, please step back. You will not do anyone any good trying to be of service if you're on empty. At that point in time, you need to step back so that you can get your tanks filled. You need to find people and things, excuse me, frog in my throat, that will encourage you and that will build you up. So step back from groups, relationships, people, things that are going to take from you, and step into things that are going to give to you. Hopefully some of those relationships and groups are the same. Hopefully groups and people you give to, you can also get from, because it should be a give and take. It shouldn't be just one way. But sometimes some people and groups are more taking or giving, either way. So sometimes we need to step back. The stepping back may only be for a day or a week or whatever. It doesn't have to be a super long time, but you've got to take care of yourself. It's really, really, really important. Guard your heart. Guard your heart. Guard your mind. You, heart and mind. You're so important. It is so, so important that you're in the best place possible if you're to be of service to others. It truly is. It is not being selfish. It is being reasonable to step back and get the things you need. If you're physically exhausted, you need to sleep. If you are hungry, you need to eat. If you are thirsty, you need to drink. Well, guess what? If you're emotionally depleted, then you need an emotional break. You need to step back. You can't keep going and going and going. I hope that makes sense. It's been on my mind this week. I think it's a really important topic. Guard your heart. Above all else, guard your heart. Guard your heart, guard your mind. For everything you do flows from it. Yeah, that's so true. Proverbs is an incredibly, it's the book of wisdom. It really is. I've read the entire Bible several times in my life. The book of Proverbs is like gold. It really is. Even if you're not a Christian, even if you're not, that's fine. I tell you, there's a lot of wonderful advice and really good information in the book of Proverbs. King Solomon was a smart guy and a very wise guy. He asked God for wisdom, according to the Old Testament, and he got it. So there's a lot of good stuff in Proverbs. I really like that. So again, Proverbs 4:23 says, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. And heart and mind are kind of similar in Old Testament writings. Okay. Hope that was nourishing. Hope that was helpful. If you have any questions about this, anything else, send me a message, email me, send me a message through my website, and I will get back to you. So, take care of yourself. See you next time.